Welcome back to the show, guys. Today I'm actually going to be sharing with you how I draw support and resistance lines, which is the wrong way. So let's do that again. Welcome back to Be the Trader, everyone. Today I actually want to make welcome back to the show, everybody. Today I actually want to show you how I draw support and resistance lines, how I utilize those to make a plan, so that way you can do the same thing when you're starting to trade on your own. Now this is Thinkorswim. I really enjoy Thinkorswim because whenever you draw something in Thinkorswim, it goes across all platforms. So their iPhone app, their iPad app, it shows up on every single platform. So I don't have to always redraw it. So if I leave my office, which I do often, to go either for a walk, go outside in the backyard with the dog, go get a haircut, go to the gym, I don't have to worry about positions because I can just look on my phone and everything will be on there in terms of the support, the resistance, and the alerts. Now, when it comes to tracking my support and resistance, I always start from a big time frame and then slowly focus in on smaller time frames. And I do start off with the monthly because I have found that sometimes you can find some significant resistance. In this case, I am watching HTBX, and I would look in the monthly and I would see a couple of areas of interest, which, coincidentally, right, it just topped out at 430. Then you go in the weekly, I'll look on the weekly as well, and what I'm looking for is, you can see how these stand out, right? To you, hopefully they stand out right away. If they don't, nothing stands out here at this time, but if they don't stand out, then you probably want to ignore it. What you're looking for is things that stand out. Like you see this level here, the 70 level stands out a little bit, but not as much as this. Not as much as this. This sticks out, right? That's what you're looking for. And not only that, but you also want to see something with volume. So I'll zoom in, because obviously we're nowhere near these levels, $20 level. I'll zoom in and I'll see these levels. And I'm still in the weekly. And look, this sticks out. It looks very weak, right? And it has volume compared to most days. And then you see the volume here. So they stand out as well. But, the time of the chart, I wouldn't be interested. Unless you're buying, you want to buy at support. But I'm shorting. Now, I am drawing support lines too, because there are going to be opportunities for you to cover, which is also opportunities for you to buy. You see here at this $3 level, there's volume behind it. It looks insignificant, but when you look over, it's 9 million shares or traded. And then we'll go in the daily. The daily, you'll start to see that things are lining up that I've already drawn the weekly and monthly, which is really nice to see. You can see a little resistance here, 260s, right? You see that little line right here. Let me zoom in here. That's the other thing with Thinkorswim. You can just highlight and zoom and easily get in this area. This right here is a 265 area. But I like these lines. And then I go into the 4 hour. And I literally like to go into all of these time frames because you can start to see what is happening here. We see a nice little strong stock. You go to the hourly. And I start to see more clear picture. See, here I see some wicks, and these are significant. These 259, this 280. Now, I don't like tons of lines, so I'm drawing these real quick, but I'll start to figure out which ones are important to me. And you'll see that this has tons of volume behind it, tons of volume behind it. And this level right here is just the level in the big picture. We had 3 support, so I might make that maybe more of a dotted line, if anything. So it's important, and it shows me it's on the daily, but not intraday, right? Not that one is more important than the other. However, I do think daily levels are more important than other levels. And sometimes I'll make them gold because they are the daily, right? They're stronger levels. Now, with that being said, once I draw my support and resistance, what I'm doing here is I'm looking for key levels that stick out like a sore thumb. This obviously sticks out compared to everything else on this. If you just look at this this sticks out, right? It obviously sticks out. This is the high a day. High a day is usually a good area to start. And then look at this. It hits multiple levels. So that's another thing. You want something that hits multiple levels, preferably 3 minimum is what you'd like to see. And if it's only 1 level, sometimes that is okay. It's not all the time. It's the exception, not the rule, where maybe only hit that level once, but it hit it with significant volume. For instance, this 4 level. We hit this 4 with significant volume and we couldn't break it. And you can see that we couldn't break it here. That's a key area. Plus you have this 430, which is what the golden daily resistance. Now, hopefully I didn't lose you here because I'm going to keep on explaining and going more in depth onto other tickers, and I'm still not done with this one. But you'll notice is you have these support lines and these resistance lines, and you can develop a plan based off these lines. You could see here the 260s, it bounced off this 260 level, and then it started to hold the 280 support line, which you can see here is a major support. You can see it held here, over under a few pennies, and then spiked. Now, one thing that you want to make sure is you don't just pick a level that is only tested once. You want levels that are tested multiple times, but with volume. Volume is very important to me. So I want something that has volume, that sticks out like a sore thumb, and has been tested more than 2 times, so at 3 times minimum. Now, how do I use this as a play for me? Well, I can tell you with this stock specifically, I did trade it, and I shorted it when the 430 rejected because it was daily major resistance and when we started to look like we were breaking 4. Now, if I zoom, I know I skipped that, so if you zoom out, we were looking at the hourly, you go to the daily, the 30 minute, and I look at these levels even more. I want to see, what do I see here? Do I see potential play? Then I go to the 15 minute, and I'm constantly looking at levels to see how they were tested, how do they react. If they had a major rejection, like after a big push, that is more significant to me. This was after a big push and then rejection. I'd like to see that because that's a true resistance level. There's some resistance levels that are not as significant, where maybe they might have like this level. You see this level here, some people might say this is a support area or resistance, which you could always build a case it is. However, it is not that strong. Let me draw a line there. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a resistance area. Let's make it purple. But I am saying that it only held that area during this consolidation mode, right? And during this consolidation, it didn't have as much volume as this time when it spiked big, and this time, right? So it's not too surprising that we broke out at this level. And if you were to use this support area as a dip buy and got shaken out, well, you know, it's very challenging to just look at key areas and say, okay, that's why I'm entering. So this is why you want to see key areas that have significant volume. And it doesn't mean just because there's big volume that broke this resistance, it immediately becomes support, because a lot of people think it's automatic, which it's not. You want to wait or at least see some confluence, which we'll get into that in another video, which is, you know, 2 areas connecting, whether, you know, 2 reasons, better yet, to enter this position. But I'm getting further away from the topic. So that's how I would draw my lines on this chart. Okay, and then based off these lines, you can come up with a plan. Let's pull up another chart. NBEV, which I already drew some lines. Let's start off with the monthly. We'll see here, these are significant areas, which I would draw lines here because these stick out like sore thumbs, right? We obviously can see that. And when I see a line where it's like really close to one another, I'll look at where to hit the most. And really, it's probably this $7 area is key. So I draw lines at this 7-ish, this 950, and this 10. Again, key areas with volume with volume, right? Then I'll go to the weekly and I'll say, oh, this obviously sticks out, right? You saw that immediately. This line right here, it sticks out very obviously. This sticks out, right? But the reason why I think this is more important is because it's on the run up, it's spiked, failed. I think this is more important. Plus, there's some volume behind it. Now, granted, actually, there's some good volume behind this one too. So there's a lot of resistance levels on this chart. Now, if we zoom in a little more, it's still the weekly. We'll see some resistance at that level. And then you even see some resistance at this level. And then we'll go in the daily. You'll start to see that the daily lines up pretty nicely, which is always good to see. Makes it easier to draw your lines too. Go to the 4 hour, the 1 hour, and now you see here on the 1 hour, we start to see a resistance level at 340. It's very clear. And when you start on the bigger picture, it's easier to draw your lines. It's very easy. And you see a support here at this $3 level. You could say $2.95 too, it's fine, but $3 is probably more important. I personally would like 3. And then go to the 30-minute, and same thing. I'm just looking to see that these lines are lining up. And the more times these lines line up on multiple time frames, the more significant it is, in my opinion. Now with this chart, you can determine and build a plan on this trade. So this wouldn't have happened, right? Maybe you watched it pre-market and you saw that we saw some support resistance here, but this is pre-market and this is the daily resistance. Right? And so pre-market had some good volume. It's good support because there was some good volume behind it. We broke that, and what happens? We held that support because of big volume. Now, that doesn't mean you just short randomly. At the same time, you see there's major support here at 280, right? From the daily resistance or daily support, however you want to look at it. Remember, resistance can become support. And we immediately tanked under that, bounced, test this support level, and then failed, showing you a good area to start shorting. You can see the daily started to take over at this 280 level. And now you're shorting, risking maybe 3 is more important in my opinion. And you can have faded it all day, which is a nice fader. Now we'll draw one more and then we'll wrap this up. But hopefully you're starting to see what I'm talking about. Is the main thing is you want to see what sticks out. So on the monthly, I would obviously ignore this because 6,000 price is at $1. I need to go and zoom in. And I don't see anything. Like I don't really see good lines here. So I would skip the weekly, same thing. Don't really see anything. Maybe, yep, that looks kind of nice right here. And then this looks nice. So you'll see how I'm drawing these lines here. Big volume, big volume. This one, I just like it a lot because it's the highest time it's the highest point it's been before this day, right? Because you're drawing these lines assuming this day hasn't occurred yet. So more so like this. And you're going to make your plan because this day it's gapping up or maybe it has news or something like that. And this is a nice line too. So then I would go to the daily. And now this chart's looking really nice. You see this? This is a key area here. Very key, $2. And then you have that 220. So I'd be very interested in this play. Then I go to the hourly. Still looking at these lines, seeing what sticks out. You see this sticks out, right? Let's make these gold again. Daily, gold. And we'll zoom into the hourly. The 30-minute, you see how it's starting to hold the 30-minute? Now, here's a good reason why you just don't short blindly, especially at the open. This thing spiked, broke through these two golden resistance areas, right? And literally shoved another 50 cents from 2. So if you just short blindly, you could easily get run over. So support and resistance lines are there to guide you, but you still got to make sure you pay attention to price action. The price action during this day on this ticker TNXP was wild. Had massive volume. You can see here 17 million shares traded in the first 5 minutes. That means there's just so much emotion on this. This thing can just rocket through levels, which it did. And then once it started calming down, you started to see that these levels were being tested. And at this point, you could take a short risking off this level because there's huge volume, right? Remember, big volume rejection, big volume, and then a reject to under 2, and then a bounce. People, I'm sure, were short in this. However, it might be safe to say you're also supporting this $2 level. You just supported it, and then now we cracked. At that point, I would be interested on this crack, on this bounce here, risking off of this. Probably, honestly, I'll probably be risking 240, but more than likely I'll be risking this 230 level. But you can see how these lines, hopefully this is making sense. And if it doesn't, please let me know, because I'll redo this video, which will suck. But I want to make sure you understand how I draw my lines. And then you make your plan. I want to see what sticks out like a sore thumb, what has volume behind it, what has been tested multiple times. And that multiple test is more important the closer you get in the time frame, like in the hourly, the 30-minute, and so forth. But like the daily, what's more important to me is volume and what sticks out. So thanks for watching this content. If you are enjoying this type of content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, and also comment below and let me know any ideas that maybe come to mind that you'd like to see, because those ideas can spark new ideas that I may be able to implement in the future. Thanks.